Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I'm your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And today I'm here to talk to you about what a case would look like if Vic Mignogna decided to sue everyone who ruined his career. All right? So buckle up. Let's talk about that. And then we'll close out this video with a call, a plea, and instructions for how you can help should Vic decide to do this, okay? So, brief backstory. On January 16th, the Broly movie dropped. Vic Mignogna's in Broly. You probably know more about Vic than I do if you're watching this video, okay? Vic is Broly. He's in the Broly movie. It's a huge release. That day and the day after, some tweets start coming out accusing Vic of various types of sexual misconduct or inappropriate behavior at conventions, many of them involving underage fans. Now, some of these have been discredited. Some of them cannot be discredited or credited. Many, if not all of them, are from anonymous people, at least at the beginning, are from people who are hard to identify or people who are, like I said, anonymous on Twitter. They don't have their real name. I don't mean that they're anonymous. I mean that they're hard to identify from a lay bystander perspective, and therefore the stories are very hard to verify. So you can't give them credit, and you can't necessarily discredit them. They just kind of linger out there. The day after the Broly movie releases, Kaylin Saucedo, aka Mars Girl, drops this pair of tweets, which really seems to have kicked off the firestorm, okay? And the reason I say that is because the hashtag #KickVic is created in the second tweet here, and that hashtag seems to have attached itself to the movement through no small effort of Kaylin Saucedo herself to go ahead and pop into pretty much any thread that she can find, mentioning the Vic Mignogna accusations or any new accusations and dropping that hashtag in there. Then it was adopted by Twitter and, of course, permeated out the way hashtags tend to do. All right? So Kaylin Saucedo kicks this off. That is on January 17th, the day after the Broly movie happens. Now, this starts to build and build and build over the next couple weeks. And then the real bombshells start dropping when Jamie Marchi and Monica Rial, co-workers of Vic for at least a decade or more, drop their accusations. Jamie has a story attached. I'm not going to read through the tweets or the story. You can find these on their timeline and go check them out if you want to. That's up to you. Certainly should not harass or bother any of these people, but you can go read about the things. If you harass them, they're going to ban you. You won't be able to read anything, but go read about them on their timelines. Read the stories for yourself, and you can kind of start to be the judge on that. However, these two accusations, Jamie Marchi's accusation and Monica Rial's non-accusation, I should say. She has a vague, nebulous statement that says, "It happened to me," but she never goes on to detail what it was. So we don't actually know, but the implication is that it mirrors some of these other accusations and the damage is done. So after these tweets drop very quickly, Funimation and Rooster Teeth. I don't have the Rooster Teeth screen cap because they didn't say much at all. Rooster Teeth just said they're cutting all ties with Vic Mignogna. He won't be voicing on Ruby anymore. That was the production house that did Ruby. Funimation made a longer statement, and I do want to talk about it for a very specific reason. They said that they've recast Vic in Morose Mononoke in Season 2, which means they got someone else to play the part that Vic was playing, and they will no longer be engaging him in future productions. But here's the interesting thing. They followed up stating the important part is, we do not condone any kind of harassment or threatening behavior being directed at anyone. So following a termination, this looks like a reason for the termination. They don't say that officially, but that's what your average reasonable bystander is going to infer from the placement of it in this tweet, in this set of tweets. It's a very strange thing for a company to do, to provide publicly a reason for termination. So they have done that. Now, what's next? What's next, right? Well, what's next is, following Funimation and Rooster Teeth dropping Vic Mignogna, you've got conventions all over the country canceling his convention appearances. My count is somewhere between 15 and 20 conventions. It may be more, it may be less, but I don't think it's less than 15. So you've got 15 to 20 conventions canceling the appearances for him. That's going to, of course, cost him quite a bit of money. That's going to prevent him from interacting with fans in any sort of way at those conventions like he would normally do, right? So what happens now? What happens now? Well, that's, of course, entirely up to Vic. For anything to happen in the realm that I'm talking about, he would have to hire a lawyer, right? So he'd consult with a lawyer. They would discuss a legal strategy. What I'm going to propose is a potential legal strategy that is heavy on litigation. This means you're going to go in and you're going to take people to court, and you're going to make them prove the things that they said, or you're going to make them pay you money. That's how it's going to go. This is a semi-hostile approach to it, but you've got to look at it at this perspective. You've got people who have taken a career that is decades long, and in a matter of 3 to 4 weeks, they have destroyed an entire life's worth of work. They've crumbled a reputation. They've basically forced someone out of a significant portion of the industry, if not all of the industry. We don't even know if all of the dominoes have fallen at this point. But right now, we know that he has been canceled from these major productions. He will not work with them again, and these are big studios. We know that he's been canceled from conventions at least this year, and maybe years into the future. We don't know the extent of it yet. All right. So this tactic, this approach, is a hostile approach to go basically for what you've lost, and that's income. That's income. This is answers and income. So this looks like this. First of all, everyone I just named, Saucedo, Marchi, Real, Rooster Teeth, and Funimation, all get sued. They all get sued immediately, as fast as possible. Now, what are the theories for the lawsuit? There are many possibilities. I'm not an expert in all of the jurisdictions that these people may be in. From what I know, most of the players are in Texas right now. Saucedo, I believe, is in California because that's what her Twitter says. I haven't done any research into this person or how to find her. I don't know her address or anything like that. So nothing, don't accuse me of doxing her. That's what's on her Twitter thing. That could be a lie. We found out from the Meyer versus Wade case, right, that Mark Wade says he relied on Meyer's Twitter location, which had him in a different state than Texas. So who knows? Who knows where she is? She says she's in California, I believe, and that's that. So I don't know all of the different causes of action or the elements, those causes of action in each particular state, but basically you've got defamation of character because you've got potentially false statements being made with the intent to cause damage to someone. The damage is caused, and economic loss has definitely occurred. Contracts have been canceled. Nothing else to be said, and big contracts, right? Next, you've got you've got negligence per se as one of the possible things, because some of the things that they shared, retweeted, or said could be negligent. So it's not necessarily malicious statements. It's not necessarily defamatory statements, but maybe they're just sharing stuff. This would apply possibly to Kaylin Salcedo the most. She is sharing tons and tons of stories that are not only not really verified, many of them aren't verifiable. And these stories are causing damage. They're destroying a reputation. And that could be negligence, for example. You've got potentially tortious interference with contract or prospective business relations. Okay, those are similar causes of action, but that's where a contract exists and you talk to someone and get that contract canceled and you had no business doing so. That's called privilege. you have privilege, then it's a different story. But if you don't have any business talking about that contract because you're not involved in it or you don't benefit from it, then you don't have the privilege, and then that's tortious interference, okay? If you do have privilege, you have to show malice, okay? And malice is doing something with either knowledge of the falsity or some sort of malicious or specific intent to cause damage, or in a reckless disregard for the truth. All right. So you either have to know it's fake, or you have to be so unwilling to do a minor step of verifying that they would say you definitely, like, you know, it's fake, or you should have known it was fake. And then, or you have to show some sort of malicious intent or motive to go after them. So that's how you show malice. That applies in the tortious interference, but it could also apply in a defamation case because Vic may be a public figure. What does malice look like? Let me show you. Here's Jamie Margie saying, yes, I want his head. I want his balls. I want him to feel an ounce of the pain he's caused to others and then effing choke on it. I want you to take his penis out of your ears so you can actually hear reality. But you know, that's just me. That looks like textbook malice. She wants him to hurt. She's made these statements to cause him pain. She's made these statements to cause him damage. It's right there. That's malice. Monica Rial is out here just going ahead and leaking information from these companies, saying that there are multiple investigations done with testimony, proof, evidence. Okay? Saying that there's proof of sexual misconduct is a bold, bold claim. They have to have proof if she's saying there's proof. Now, if this is just some rando person on the internet, different story. Monica Rial is employed by the companies and said she participated in the investigations. So a reasonable person could consider her acting as an agent for those companies, and therefore that puts Rooster Teeth and Funimation having one of their agents going ahead and releasing information that should probably be private and also might be false. If you're saying there's proof of sexual misconduct and there's not actually proof of sexual misconduct in those investigations, then you're doing defamation per se, and you're impugning someone's business reputation and also accusing them of a moral wrong, a severe moral wrong, and that is irredeemably damaging to someone's reputation. That's what defamation's all about. That's what all this boils down to. This is a person whose reputation built his career. This is a person who's destroying their reputation, destroys their ability to get work, and destroys their career. It better be true if you're taking someone's money. It better be true. So the first round of lawsuits is probably everybody I just mentioned. Like I said, Saucedo, Marchi, Rial, Funimation, Rooster Teeth, all gone. You potentially go after Saucedo's employer because she's adjacent to that world. She also said she has friends at Funimation. So you might need to go after the friends at Funimation. You might have to see who she was talking to about this. You might have to see who maybe she planted ideas in the ear of to go ahead and start talking about that. Tortious interference doesn't just have to be direct communication with the contract holder. If you intend for someone else to interfere with the contract on your behalf, still tortious interference. Okay, so you got to sue Saucedo, Rial, Marchi, Funimation, Rooster Teeth. Next, you got to start looking at all the conventions, all of the convention venues as well. Some of these venues are owned by city and state governments. They're owned by a city and state government. You can't just prevent someone from going without typically some sort of due process. That's our Fifth Amendment right? State action. If you're banned from a state auditorium, you have to have a reason that you're banned. There has to be some level of process that's due to you that may come up to notice and an opportunity to be heard. Now, a lot of times this doesn't go on. I think city auditoriums, city coliseums, stuff like that probably commit Fifth Amendment violations all day, but they don't rise to the level of causing most people an appreciable enough amount of damages to pursue it. If your livelihood is relying on you going to these conventions, and much less if any of the conventions like Pensacon, for example, start making statements bigger than we've disinvited Vic Mignogna, if they start giving reasons, if they start making threats, if they start saying that support of him will amount to harassment, stuff like that, that starts to look like malice. That starts to look like state action. That starts to look like state action interfering with protected rights, free assembly, free speech, freedom of travel, access to public utilities or public facilities. These are places of government accommodation or public accommodation. So they have to go by discrimination rules. There's all sorts of stuff that could be brought into this. So you got to start suing you got to sue the management companies, you got to sue the cons themselves, and you got to sue the venues. And here's why you got to sue all these people, because all of them have communicated with someone else. And in those communications, you may uncover other parties who have bad actions, bad intents, and stuff like that. It's all in discovery. And as discovery goes on, you may be adding people, you may be adding cause of action, you may actually be subtracting people. In discovery, you may find emails that say, I don't want any part of this. I tweeted about it once and I take that back. I found out that was wrong. Whatever it may be, you can find all sorts of ways to remove a party from an action as well as discovery goes on. And then you'd motion to dismiss the case. That's fine. But you got to start with the 5 you know, and then it goes out from there. Of course, every con, of course, there's 15 more parties, for example, and it gets bigger and bigger. It's like throwing a rock into a pond and then it ripples out, right? And as the ripples go, it gets bigger and bigger. You're getting a bigger and bigger net of people caught inside the circle of the ripple that you may have to bring into a lawsuit, or you may have to file separate lawsuits against, or you may have to subpoena, you may have to deposition them. We'll see. Maybe, if Vic decides to pursue it. Now, here's the important part, right? Here's what I really want to get to. If Vic decides to pursue it, it would be massively helpful to whatever law firm's going to get this, okay, would be information, tons of it. Now, a law firm that's jumping into this case is going to have to go through tons and tons of social media and stuff like that to start getting the information to build their case. That's going to take time. When your reputation is being Julius Caesared right in front of you, you don't have that time. So I'm putting out a call for help. In the event that Vic decides to take this lawsuit, decides to go after these people for destroying his career based on false allegations, in the event that he does that, I want to be able to immediately give the information to Vic and his attorneys so that they don't have to sift through all of this stuff. It's going to save them time. It's going to save Vic money. So if you care about this community, if you care about Vic, if he's been inspiring for you, if he's talked to you and been nice, if you've had a good experience with Vic, here's what I need you to do. I need you to archive anything and everything from important, verifiable people. The anonymous stories, not super helpful. Stuff from Jamie Marchi, Monica Rial, Kaylin Saucedo. Any of the companies involved, Funimation, Rooster Teeth, their parent companies, Sony, Otter TV. Anything these people might say. Other cast members, other voice actors, things like that. People who are identifiable and have ties to Vic in some way and are doing this, they're the ripest targets. If they have ties to any of the people named here, friends of Marchi, friends of Rial, husbands of them, if they're making public statements about this, archive it. Send an email to rekietalaw@gmail.com. Subject, Vic info. This will help me sort all of the stuff coming in very easily and separate it from other stuff that I get at this email address, okay? So send it there. I will create a repository. I will back up files. They will be protected. If you send me archive links, those aren't really fakeable, and they're really, really valuable because people will decide to try and delete stuff, of course. Of course they're going to try and delete stuff. Go ahead and send me anything that you've got that looks like that. Please limit the amount of anonymous stuff unless it's really important or otherwise credible. Be your own judge. Send me archive links. If you can put like them into groups and subjects or give me minor descriptions, will be very helpful. And then if a law firm takes this case, if Vic goes forward, I will make sure this info gets to that firm as fast as possible, and I will keep funneling them any information that's necessary. The next thing I need you to do, go ahead and hit like, share, subscribe, okay? I will be following any case that does develop. If there's a case announced, you can come here. I will read the documents as they drop. I will explain to you the law that's going on. I will attempt to discern the strategy. If there's something weird in the strategy, I will talk to you about how this process works. I've done it in several other cases. I've been following diversity in comics. I've been following the quartering. I've followed the Maddox lawsuit. There are other cases as well. This is kind of what I do on my channel if you're not familiar. So like and subscribe and share this to the community so that they know there's one place that it will go and it will get to another lawyer from a lawyer, right? I will use my personal reputation and contacts to make sure that they understand that the information is coming in. It's been looked at. It's been gone through somewhat, and it will help them in their research. All right, guys, that's what I got for you today. There's a lot of information. I hope this helps you understand how you attack something like this in this manner. And then I hope it motivates you to somewhat, if you care about the situation, to start doing that archiving, start sending me that information, and help out any prospective legal team that might take this on, because this would be a daunting thing to take on. Trust me. Trust me. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good night. Peace.